When we're talking about the Prophet Muhammad or just Muhammad, he's not a prophet. He's just Muhammad. He's not a prophet. He has no connection to the one true God, Jesus Christ. None. None. There's no connection between Muhammad and our God, Jesus Christ. When I studied out Muhammad, read a few books, I got a little disgusted. I got a little disgusted by it. Somewhere around Aisha. See, the Prophet Muhammad had 11 wives that I was able to count. One of them was a sister named Aisha. A-I-S-H-A, I think I'm saying that right. One of them was Aisha. Aisha was 9 years old when Muhammad decided to marry her. When I first heard this story, because at one point in my life, I was also a part of Sunni Islam. So when I first heard this story, they led me to believe that he took this girl to be his wife, but she remained at her parents' house until she is of marriageable age. So in our Western way of thinking, we say, oh, all right, it's about 18, 19, 20, 21. So he kind of just waited 10 years for her to, blossom and then maybe, right? That's the Western way of thinking. But when you really do your research, I'll give book references later. But when you really do your research, you begin to see, oh no, he didn't wait. He didn't wait. No, he didn't wait, brother. He was 53 years old at the time that he took Aisha to be his wife, and she was 9 years old. Let me give you some notes here. At 6 years old, he decided he would marry her. She was presented to him at 6 years old, and he spoke with the father of the child and arranged to marry her at 9 years old. So he waited from 6 years old to 9 years old. But at 9 years old, he consummated the marriage. This is documented. This is documented. And I'm reading it from the Honorable Wives of the Prophet. Right? I'm reading it from the Honorable Wives of the Prophet. And I'm explaining to you that there's nothing honorable about a 53-year-old man having sex with a 9-year-old girl. There's nothing honorable about that. There's no way you're going to convince me. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. I dare you to come on my chat right now and make it make sense. You running around here talking about Muhammad is somehow equal or better than Christ. Make it make sense. You out here ready to go to war for a religion that was started by Roman Catholicism. Make it make sense. You don't study it out enough. You sitting in there in submission to a moon god. You're allowing your imam to lead you to a lake of fire. I don't care how good you smell, brother. I'm glad you cleaned up the exterior of your life. And I really in my heart believe that you have been working on the interior of your life. But you can't do it on your own. So if somebody walked around with a camera and followed you and spied on your liberty, they're going to see your fallacy. They're going to see your errors, your transgressions, the things that you still do on the side, on the low. You seemeth right. But there's a thing called holiness. I don't teach religion. I teach holiness. Holiness is what the prophets taught. The same prophets you got in your Quran, allegedly. I got to say that with scrutiny because you mistranslate things. And because you got the doctrines of men, you think Brother Bilal. Let me move on. Let me move on. I don't want a bunch of Akis trying to call me. I ain't scared of you. I'm trying to give you some truth, brother. Ain't nothing wrong with working out as a group. Ain't nothing wrong with being with the brothers. Ain't nothing wrong with fellowshipping. But study it out. You can't take all your books from the same library because you're not going to get what they don't want to tell you. I told y'all before to go read Islam Unveiled. There's nothing honorable about a 53-year-old male having sexual intercourse. That's what consummated mean, brother. He consummated the marriage after the Battle of Badr, B-A-D-R, when she was 9 years old, page 42, the wives of the prophet. Study it out. And try to make it make sense to me. Don't say nothing else about Christ until you could make that make sense to me. I don't want to hear your theology. I don't want to hear your philosophy. If you think it's okay to be a pedophile, you're no different than them fake Jews that you sitting here criticizing. You're no different than them Talmudists, right? I don't say Jews no more. Because I already explained to you, facts are facts, Benjamin H. Friedman, that Jew is a made-up word. But Islam is constantly talking about, the Muslims are constantly talking about those fake Jews, but they don't understand that they kind of in the same boat. You paying homage to a pedophile. You paying homage to a guy that practiced pederasty. And every time you give salat, you saying peace and blessings be upon him. Why? Because he came up with the Quran, or because the Quran was revealed to him? You have your own God, Negro. To my Negro Muslims. You have your own God. You're supposed to be the poster child. You're supposed to be representing for God. You're supposed to be an example of God. The scriptures told us to be imitators of God. You're supposed to explain to everybody else that are watching you how great God is. And you're supposed to be teaching that there's freedom in Jesus Christ.